Hello guys, welcome back to Big Rig Banter here on the open road. I hope everyone's been safe this week. It's been a little bit crazy. We had a little bit of a snowpocalypse, 2024, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last. It's the first this year, but is what it is. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about some of this winter driving and all the craziness we had out here, maybe share a couple stories, and go from there. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. We'll be right back. All right, so obviously, if people that are watching this might notice something a little bit different about the way the layout is. I decided to try something different. That way, it's not just the camera. I got some fancy stuff going on. Got logos and everything else. And so, unfortunately, yet another week, co-host is not available. He's I'm guessing he was dealing with some safety ordeals as a result of the weather, and so he's at home. Was up since I guess 4:30 in the morning. So we're definitely starting out late, but my guest, who's going to replace our host, is Melvin. He's one of our drivers. He's been with us for 2 years, you said?
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close? So when's your anniversary?
June of this year.
Awesome. So did you have the wonderful pleasure of having to drive around in this weather we've been having?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely heading towards Georgia, taking the Route 22 or Highway 22.
You left out this week then? When did you leave out? Monday? Sunday?
Yeah, I want to say Monday. Yeah, Monday.
Oh, wow.
Heading down.
So you got to deal with all the wonderful stuff that I had to deal with this week.
Oh, yeah. And then the great thing was coming back and then going back over there at the same week. So I ended up having to deal with the whole no plowing in Mississippi.
Oh, don't even get me started. The other driver that was just here, we were talking a little bit about that, and it's all well, it's fine. It's irritating that some of these states don't want to do anything about the roads, don't want to get plows out there. But when I was coming back through, because Mississippi did do a damn thing Monday. Of course, it really just started to snow that night previously, so they haven't really. I was giving them the benefit of the doubt, thinking that maybe they haven't really got things started. They didn't plan ahead or whatever else, because that's something that Arkansas has always done. And this year, bravo to Arkansas for the first time. Every year that we've had any kind of snow or ice, I've always seen a sand truck in the ditch somewhere. But I was in Memphis over the weekend. We went and saw Joe Coy, and we stayed the night in Memphis because we didn't get out of the show till like almost 11 o'clock, so we knew that going in advance, so we stayed the night in Memphis. But on the way back, I seen them dumping liquid salt on the roads in Arkansas. I'm like, well, holy crap. They're actually staying ahead this time. But Mississippi, those people.
Same thing in Mississippi. I saw the liquid truck rolling down the highway, and I'm like, well, I mean, at least they're doing something.
In Mississippi?
In Mississippi.
I wonder what the hell happened.
They
forget to add the salt?
I guess so. I think they just ended up adding water, making it freeze, because that's pretty much what it was.
Oh, wow. All I know is, I've given them the benefit of the doubt, hoping they're going to get things, tidy and everything else. When I came back through there, let me see, I come through there, let me see, Mississippi. Okay, yeah. Okay, so the next day I went all the way to Rome and picked up over in Georgia, another place in Georgia, and I was coming back through, and I stopped at the same place I stopped in Alabama as I did. So Wednesday, I didn't get back into Mississippi until Wednesday, and it was frustrating to see that the roads were still snow-packed, covered. There's one good lane, the right lane the whole way. People driving 30 miles an hour. You can clearly see it's blue skies, clear skies. The road right there isn't covered, but you can tell it's dry. Like, come on, people. So that was a little frustrating, but it wasn't until after I got past Tupelo, New Albany, somewhere in there, I passed 2 plow trucks sitting on the shoulder facing east. Must have been brand new because the blade on them was bright orange. It's not scuffed. It's not dirty. It's like it's never been used. Their dump beds were completely filled with sand and salt or whatever the hell they use in Mississippi, and they were just sitting there, not doing a damn thing. Nothing. I'm like, there's these roads ain't gonna plow themselves. They're not gonna salt themselves. Like, what are you doing? So I was so frustrated. I called the office and I was like, hey, I need you all to help me compose a letter to Mississippi and say, hey, they need to get off their ass. So, but
I
yeah,
wonder how that's gonna work.
I don't know.
We'll see next year, I guess.
Yeah. All I know is I want to make a short calling out Mississippi DOT or Department of whatever, or was it the damn it, the state offices that do all the budgeting and everything else. I don't care if you're broke. Get off your ass and protect the people on your highways. So, anyways.
Yeah, especially the exits. I mean, the exits were
I
icy.
know. That was the worst part, because when I was coming back through, I stopped at exit 14, that Loves in Alabama, before you get to Mississippi.
I know there's a Lowe's, but was it an Arby's or a McDonald's?
I think that one's an Arby's.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like 14 miles from the state line in Mississippi. Yeah. I stopped in there because I was like, okay, I want to take care of some personal business. I pull in there. I walk to the front door. They have it all locked up because they have no power. Oh, we can't let you in. I'm like,
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Are your toilets broken? No, we can't let you in. I'm like, that's the only reason why I stopped there. And I really wish they were open, because as soon as I got to Mississippi, as you mentioned, all the off ramps, all the on ramps were all jacked up.
Yeah, I was going to exit.
And so I had to use the facilities, but I had to wait till I got all 122 miles across Mississippi before I finally had a break. I hate West Memphis, the flying there. It's a dump. And
TA is not that bad.
There's not a TA in West Memphis.
I mean,
there's Petro.
My bad.
I haven't been over there because every time you go in there, you have to get a ticket and park and all that crap. And because I know they had that paid parking stuff going there.
Is it?
Do they not have that anymore?
No.
Oh, because I remember there's a booth there. You walk in, when you drive through, they give you a ticket, and if you're there for less than 2 hours, they don't charge you.
No, it's not there anymore.
Oh wow, it's been a long time since I stopped over there.
Oh, okay.
Just because of that, I was like, nah.
Now you know.
And so,
but yeah, I was gonna exit in one of those. I think it was a Love's also. It's Love's there, and then across the highway there's a Freightliner dealership.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
I don't remember that exit.
Well,
but
if you're talking about Mississippi, there's two of them. There's one in New Albany, or not New Albany, Tupelo. And that one's on the north side. That has the hotel right there, and they have a McDonald's.
That's the one.
I can't remember what's on the other side. There's another truck stop on the other side, and then there's another one at exit 30, and across the street from it is the Walmart.
No, the first one you were talking about. I was going to exit on that one, but when I was going to take that lane, I saw the whole exit full of ice. I'm like, if I end up stopping, I'm just going to go straight. So I was like, no, I'm just going to have to keep going. The good thing was that there was no car behind me, so I could, quickly merge in, because it was crazy.
So when you take that exit, and down the bottom, you turn north, and you turn over in between the median to pull into Love's. Well, when I passed there, all that was ice. There was a tow truck there pulling someone else out of the ditch right there. Yeah. So even if I were to take that exit, I wouldn't be getting to the Love's, because there's a tow truck
right in the middle.
Yeah. It was all tore up.
Yeah, so Mississippi needs to really update their.
They need to do something. They need to get off their butt and do something, because they're hurting themselves.
Yeah. Well, not only that, they're hurting everybody.
Oh yeah.
With accidents and everything, who knows? It could end up a fatal accident just because of how they're not taking care of the roads.
And so, Liz just was like, maybe they're broke, maybe they don't have the money. I'm like, that's not really an excuse. I mean when it comes, they should have a budget. I think most states do that experience any kind of winter weather. They have like a set budget that they already set off to the side to. Well, northern states, they usually have those stations where you see the like silos or whatever, not silos, but those large covered bin areas.
Right.
They fill it up throughout the year with sand and salt mixture and everything else, so that way they're ready. But there's a couple of those here in Arkansas. They're really small. I think some of them used to be like just truck parking areas. I think there's only Is there one? I think it's on 40. I think I could be mistaken. Might be mixing up with somewhere
I
else.
think there is one in 40.
And so
Yeah.
it's like no trucks are allowed. It's
But
just
then
for
you see
state
also,
employees.
not West Memphis, actually Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
They didn't clean anything either.
It was.
Especially with the construction. I don't know how they
Oh
would
yeah.
get through.
It was all right when I came back through, but going through it, I mean, all that snow had dumped the night before, so that's kind of it was expected, I guess. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
All I know is I didn't take 55 Monday. I went across 40 and down 240, just because I had heard previously that the 55 was shut down or was closed. I seen a message either on PeopleNet or on Facebook or text message, or I seen some note. I heard it somewhere that 55 was closed because I'm guessing because of the weather. I don't know if it's true. The signs, the lit signs that they updated, they mentioned, you know, snow, ice, and everything else. Take it slow, but none of them said that 55 was closed. So I wasn't going to
Yeah.
I wasn't going to keep going that way and find I had to find somewhere to turn around,
Right.
like just past the scale in Arkansas, that weird little loop, which probably would have been covered with ice too. So, what other kind of snow stories from previous years? I mean, how long have you been driving in general?
General, I have about 4 years in general total.
Okay, so you're still green.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you do before here? Did you work for another outfit, or did you work locally, or
Before as truck driver,
before Bowerman?
before Bowerman, no, I worked at another truck company in Chicago,
Oh,
where I used
okay.
to live. Now I live in Houston.
You live in Houston.
Yes, sir.
I swear I see you here every Saturday.
Yeah, because on the week.
Are you planning on moving up here, or
No. I'm just rolling pretty much
Okay.
nonstop, recapping my hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Chicago.
So instead of staying in Houston, which freight to get out of Houston don't pay that well.
Right.
So I might as well be.
Are you an LP?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I don't say, why do you care how much the freight is? So the outfit you were with in Chicago, were you also an LP?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't really like to be a company driver. I've been working for a company for a long time, so I wanted to have something on my own.
Right. One of the biggest things that always turned me off from the whole LP or owner operator was the fact that I've been asked several times, hey, why don't you buy one of these trucks? I'm like, no. Why? Well, I would love the opportunity to find something else to do. I mean, Albert got lucky in that he got to be able to get out of the truck, and he's still making enough being out of the truck to make sure all his bills are paid and everything else. And I think his wife works, but he has the opportunity to get out of the truck and not have to worry about it. Awesome. And so I've always had the thought, if I find something to offer me comparable pay where I'm able to pay all my bills without having to leave out on the road every day or all week long, I'd be all over it. And so, because I've been here for 15 years, drove a couple years at Yarnell's, over a year with my uncle, and some more stuff up in Washington. So trucking has definitely changed from what it was like years ago. So
From what I heard, yeah.
so you hear a lot of old school driver stories. Well, hell, here we were still on paper logs when I first started.
Oh man, talking about paper logs, I had to do it one time because the
ELD malfunction.
ELD, malfunction. I'm like, oh crap. So every single time I stop, you had to write down what you're doing.
Right,
Like,
where you were. Some places, I think they required you to write your mileage at that stop. I don't remember it being a requirement. I could be wrong. Someone correct me.
Yeah, but you had to be so specific.
Well,
on what you had to write.
well,
From my knowledge from the last company, when that happened to me, they're like, no, you had to make it exactly why you stopped, what time you stopped, and city that you were at. And I'm like, oh crap.
well, on the paper logs, there's only 15-minute increments, and so that was
So it's like,
that
what-
was handy.
Yeah.
I first started using computer logs, not ELD or anything like that, but I had a program that I helped beta test, helped troubleshoot, and helped develop called Truck Logger, I don't even know if they're still around. They might be. I don't know. Because there's still people out there running trucks that are like 1999 and older that don't want to use the LDs. But you choose a template that you want that looks like, I picked one that looks like our current logs that we're currently using, the J.J. Keller logs that they sell at every truck stop everywhere. They had that template, and I would use that. And it was nice because since it logs in 15-minute increments, you could cheat like 5 minutes. I figured as long as it doesn't go over 7 minutes, I'll mark it back to this point. So if it's like 9:06, it's 9 o'clock. So, and I would do the same thing when they first started doing that 30-minute break. Okay, I'm supposed to be able to leave at 9:30, but if it's 9:25, that's technically rolls over to the next 15-minute slot. So that's 9:30. I'll just leave 5 minutes early. Yeah, you know, it's just the little things, little things. Of course, back then it was a lot easier to make up history. Now with the LDs, that's not a thing anymore. You can do certain edits with your 14-hour clock, but you can't move anything associated with driving. You cannot add driving, you cannot subtract driving, because it's sorry dude, your truck was moving, you were driving.
Yeah, especially that 5 mile an hour,
right? Unless you're keeping it under 5 miles an hour, or if you put it on yard move. Those are the only two exceptions. But then again, you're not driving down the interstate for hours at 20 miles an hour, or just shy of 20 miles an hour. But yeah, so in your 4 short years, so is this week the worst winter experience you've had?
Oh, no.
You came from Chicago. They don't know.
Yeah. Well, I also drove around the whole country, really. Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska,
Nebraska's
Montana.
A joke.
I consider going through Wyoming and Utah, Colorado area is terrible.
No, well, parts of Wyoming, but for the most part,
winter,
they know what winter is, though.
Yeah, they know what winter is.
Nebraska, the problem with Nebraska, I mean, the wind, because there ain't no hills, no mountains, so the ice, holy crap, man.
Going up the what do you call it, the bridges?
Oh, yeah.
When you're way up there and then you see the wind going, well, you don't see the wind, but you know what I mean.
Right.
It's like, oh, man. But going through those Wyoming and the snow, I mean, they keep it clean, no doubt.
Right.
But there's spots that, you know, it just gets piled up because of the wind.
Right.
And then you got to go through it. And then you got that big, huge hills. The big hills that you're ending pretty much going 80 miles an hour.
Right.
And to me, literally, I do not consider braking just because I don't feel safe doing that.
Right.
I really don't. Even though some people say, "Oh no, you had to." Like, no, because one, you're gonna heat up your brakes. It's gonna seize. Two, if you brake too hard, you're potentially gonna end up jackknifing your trailer.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. You know. So I do put my engine brake. You know, I slightly tap on the brakes, you know, just to keep it under a certain
It depends
speed
on the
limit.
road, but in certain kinds of weather, you shouldn't be using your jakes anyways, because if it's icy,
you have the level of how rough you have it.
When applying your brakes, you're applying the steers, your drives, and your trailer simultaneously. Whereas if you're using your jake brakes to slow down, if it's icy, only the truck is. So you have the potential for your trailer to slide around in certain situations. So I'd keep that in mind. I think one of the craziest adventures I had. We have another driver here. His name's Jeff Turpin, and looking back on our trip, I guess it's kind of an honor to do it. When we were at our middle yard, there was a truck. I think it was driven by, his name was Lewis. He was his truck broke down in Portland, Oregon, and we needed to recover that truck because they tore the engine all the way apart. I'm like, we can't fix it. They says it's this. They said it's that, and everything else. We're like, you know what? We're not paying anymore. Just throw all the parts, throw them all in the truck. We'll come get our truck. And it was the middle of winter, and so out of all of our drivers, I think it was awesome. You know, Jimmy Bowerman, the original founder of Bowerman Trucking, he didn't he was the only one that used our tow boom arm. He's the only did because he didn't trust anyone else to do it because of all the risk associated with towing a truck. And so he had asked, he came to me and Jeff, and he showed us how his boom arm worked, and he trusted us to go up to Portland to pick up the truck. Everyone handles snow and ice a little bit different. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not going to stay in it. What I mean, the few times that I've been in some crazy weather, it's usually going west. After you get past Wyoming and get through Utah, you hit that wonderful state of Oregon, because you have Pendleton and Cabbage you have to go over.
Yeah.
Our basic rule was, if you have to chain up, park the truck. We don't chain. We have show chains. You're not supposed to use them. I'm like, I still have 7 hours left of driving time. I'm not just going to park here. I don't know how many of our drivers did this, but I was like, I've never chained a truck. I learned real fast.
Yeah, I haven't.
And so I threw chains. I was like, I'm not staying on the side of the road. There's a chain law. There's cops patrolling. I'm putting chains on. Better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. And so Jeff, when it comes to winter weather, he doesn't care. I'm not saying he doesn't care as in that he's reckless, but he's like, it doesn't faze him. He's like, it's just more fun for him.
Right.
He's I don't give a shit kind of driver. Let's go. And so I didn't know how much that was the case until I think he was driving. We got to La Grande, Oregon. There was a chain law in effect. He said, well, I guess we're shut down. I'm like, no, we're not. We have chains. Oh, no, I'm not. I don't chain shit. He's never chained a truck, and he wasn't about to start. I was like, well, I'm not staying on the side of the road. And that Flying J that we just passed is completely filled up. We're not finding a place to park. We're going to keep going. I will chain the truck. As long as you're still willing to drive, is all hell I'll drive. The reason why I ain't driving now is because they require chains. And it's like, well, I'll chain the damn truck. So I chained the truck, and he starts hauling ass. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be driving this fast. I don't give a shit. We got to get somewhere to be. You wanted to go. We're going. I'm like, holy shit. So we got over Cabbage, then we got over Pendleton, got to the de-chaining area, and we continued down the hill, and I went and took a nap. I can't remember there's a truck stop on the other side of Pendleton on the west side. I can't remember. I know there's a casino there. Nice truck stop. Awesome deli, the whole 9 yards. We got over to the de-chaining area. I helped de-chain, and he was like, I don't have any time left. I'm like, truck stop's right there. No, I'm out of time. I don't get in trouble. Really? I was currently using the EOBR, the electronic onboard recording device. This is before the ELD mandate. Okay. I was running EOBR on my trucks. We used my truck as the power unit. He was on paper logs. And so I mean, it was like maybe a mile. You could see the exit clearly. You can see the truck stop. I'm like, well, just finish up. Wait, oh, no, I'm out of time. I'm like, now you care? And so I was like, fine, whatever. I'll drive there. I don't give a shit. And I didn't log on to the LBR. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm not going to start my time until I get over there and get my coffee. Yeah. Then I'll do my pre-trip. We finally get to Portland.
Oh, you might get in trouble.
I know. I'm like, they're not going to get us that 1 mile. I don't care. I mean, I'm currently logged off anyways. They're. Have you heard that voiceover for some of those videos on Facebook? How are they going to know? They're going to know. They're not going to know. How are they going to know? Yeah. It was that kind of situation. And so we got over there, and I didn't realize that was the first time I stopped there, and I didn't realize how good their deli was. And it was really good. Got some good breakfast, good coffee, and started the pre-trip. We got to Portland. His truck, because we were towing his truck. He was supposed to get the trailer, go get loaded, and I was supposed to grab the truck that broke down, hook up, and then start towing it back. Okay. His truck was like a huge ice ball, brown, disgusting ice ball. And so The boom connects to the truck on the rear end. There's chains going up underneath the suspension and everything else to basically make sure everything's attached. We couldn't unhook none of it because it was just huge. Like this mic was the chains. There must have been this much ice and snow just packed all over everything. And so the truck stop we stopped at, there was actually a truck wash right there, and the people on the night shift were real dicks. Oh, we have to charge you like $1,000 to do all that. I'm like, we'll wait till the morning. We'll get the manager. And he's like,
To wash?
well, yeah, because of all the snow and ice.
What does that got to do with
Because of how long it would take to wash and pressure wash and heat up all the water.
$1,000?
Yeah, he was like, oh, he just quotes $1,000. I'm like, no. And this is, I think it was I want to say it was a Blue Beacon. I might be wrong.
A simple wash is like, I don't know what,
Well,
45?
Well, yeah,
Close to 50?
but the time he was looking at it from a time perspective, maybe like $500. It wasn't, or whatever. It was a lot of fucking
That's
money.
crazy.
But he was looking at it from the time aspect that it was going to take to free up all the ice off the truck and everything else. I mean, my truck was fine because, well, we're washer fluid and everything else, but all that spray comes around the truck, just lands on his truck. But the next morning, we got their manager. He says, bring it in. We'll just play it by ear. We'll try to keep it under this much. I think we paid like $180, which much
Sounds
better.
reasonable, yeah.
Because it took him a couple hours of constant spraying, getting all the ice stuff to break loose.
Right.
But yeah, that was crazy. And so the adventure coming back was just as fun. You mentioned Nebraska. Oh, man, I remember. I'm trying to remember. I think I was out for 2 weeks at that time. I was coming back. I delivered to Kent, Washington for Lennox.
Okay.
And there was a big storm front that was going to come through. And I'm like...
You know what year was this?
Oh, I've slept since then. Again, I was probably on paper. I think I was on paper logs that time.
Okay.
And it was... you've been here for 2 years. So you remember their old yard truck, the old black International?
Yeah, I seen it
Okay.
somewhere.
That was our fleet at the time. It was mostly those black Internationals.
Okay.
And so there was a storm front coming through. I was like, hey, you need to find me a load today. I ended up doing a full 34-hour restart when I still had like 20 hours left or something like that. And so they finally found me a load after my 34-hour break. And so I ended up hitting all that weather. But I stopped in Nebraska. I was so happy. I got through Laramie, got through Cheyenne.
Yeah.
And I hit Nebraska. And I was like, oh, thank God. Finally, dry, wet pavement and everything else. They're working the roads. And I found a little truck parking area. And I parked there. Yeah. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, I was finally stopped, got the APU fired up. And I'm sitting there just chilling. I woke up next morning to my alarm just beeping, or my phone beeping saying, blizzard warning. There's snow drifts all over the front of my truck and everything else. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's snow. I'm not slipping and falling. I'm busting my ass walking around. So I'm just going to take it slow, get on the highway. It was all good that first 20 minutes. And after that, it was just a solid sheet of ice. We had a little convoy going on. We're doing like 20, 25 miles an hour. It was so slick, we couldn't slow down. We couldn't speed up because anything we did with the brakes or the accelerator, you'd feel everything shift. It sucked. And you want, as much as you would love to stop, this week's Mississippi, all the Mississippi exits, nothing in comparison. It was just, you could see solid, shiny sheet of ice all the way down every single exit. Truck stops, you could see there's parking spots available. Like, oh, it looks so inviting, but I'm not going to kill myself going on the off ramp.
I'm surprised they didn't close the roads.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't speed up. It was like 100 miles at 20, 25 miles an hour. It was crazy. It was exhausting.
Well, I don't know back then, but did they have those things like what they got in the train tracks that they closed down?
They do.
Did they have that back then?
Yeah, they had those, but
Oh, wow.
I mean, there wasn't any more weather going on that morning. All that blizzard crap happened overnight. The winds were strong, and there was there were several trucks in the ditch. I remember I can't remember where we were, maybe close to York, before York. I don't remember, but there was a tow truck. They don't give a damn. They
They'll go through.
Oh yeah, they don't. I mean,
they're-
they do it all the time, so
Yeah.
they're like whatever.
Not only that, they're pretty heavy, right?
I would think so.
With all the equipment that they got
But
in there.
there was a truck in the ditch up ahead. We could see him, and this tow truck comes around us, and just looking at us. He starts sliding a little bit. What's he do? He dives off into the median on purpose, just plowing through. And I had my radio on. And we were like, I heard a couple people like, man, I bet he's got better traction than we got right now. He's just plowing through just because, you know, it's the only way he can get to the front. And he's trying, you know, because the more hookups and recoveries he can do, the more he makes that day. And so, more power to him.
Yeah.
A couple were like, maybe we should all get in line behind him.
Or start a business with that kind of job.
Well, because their median isn't like real deep. Like a lot of it's just,
yeah.
so it's pretty shallow. But yeah, crazy weather. And so that was another one of those times that, like, as soon as I hit getting close to Lincoln, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, the weather stopped. They worked the roads better on that side of the state. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is one of them. That's terrible too when it comes to snow.
Yeah, well, they stay on top of it, but it just keeps dropping.
Yeah.
And so I used to run a dedicated route that went to Port Murray, New Jersey. And so we'd go through, what was it, up 95 or 85. What's that main town? We are there on 76. There's a flying J right there. That's where I would stop and top off, and then I would get on 56, I think it is. There's another flying J down there. It's been a long while. We don't go up there no more because of mainly the tolls. The road taxes are crazy. So
yeah. I done it with the other company. It's just crazy.
I'm sure we still go up there. I mean, just if their load pays enough, we'll send a truck, I'm sure. I mean, but we're not going to actively look for a truck going that way.
I'd rather drive on the West Coast than any time on the East. Any time. I'm done with the East Coast. I just can't stand New York or New Jersey.
No. I haven't ever been to New York City.
No?
Jeff Turpin has. In fact, one of his stories, it would have been crazy, but he was, I don't know what part of New York he was, but the road that he was taking to get, I think he was taking a load of tires, if I remember correctly. And there was intersections where there was four-way stops, and he got pulled over. And cops like, what the hell are you doing? Going to where I'm delivering here in a couple hours? Why are you stopping? Because there's a stop sign. No. You don't stop here. You don't want to stop here. It is in your best interest. If you don't see anyone there, just keep going through all this. So, like, I'm not going to give you a ticket for running these stop signs because I know this is not the neighborhood that you stop at. You just keep going. Unless you're going to hit somebody, keep driving.
Really?
Yeah. Because every time you stop at one of these stop signs, it's an opportunity for someone to basically rob you. Wherever he was at, it was rough. But he got stopped by a cop and says, "What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't stop here." But the closest I ever got was a producer's load that went to Newark. And I told them, "Don't ever send me up here again. I don't care. I will push myself out of the truck and break a leg." You know, yeah. It's like, you will not send me to New York again. You're not in New York. You're in Newark. I'm sorry. If I can see it,
right,
I'm in New York. And I don't want to take the person who designed the roads over there into a dark alley and beat him to death. Because I don't remember where I picked up afterwards. But after I got on the highway, I think it was 95 or some other interstate that met up with 95. You got like 5 lanes coming in over here, or 4 lanes coming in, and 4 lanes coming in. They merge, and then that's right there is where they decide, let's put the toll gates right here.
I think I know.
And there's like 10 or 12 toll lanes for toll booths for these 2 highways that just merged like an eighth of a mile back.
Yeah.
So you have all these 8 lanes coming in, split up, thinned out to 12 booths. But after that, it goes down to 3 or 4 lanes. Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous. I want to say there may have been some snow coverage enough to where you can't see all the little dashed lines. So when I was kind of trucking through. I don't know if I'm in your lane. I don't know if you're in my lane. I don't know if I'm going sideways across the lanes. I didn't know because
You're just on
everybody,
the road.
12 lanes, boom, down to 3.
Right.
I'm like, what moron thought that this was a good idea?
Well, that's New York for you.
So yeah, you can have the East Coast crap,
Yeah.
but parts of the West Coast aren't much better. Like, I used to go in to a couple places before I drove here in the LA area, and I would camp out at the truck stops until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Then I would go. The traffic is significantly less, but there's still stop and go traffic at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Well, see, I'll stay in Nevada. If I'm going to deliver it in the morning, I'll stay in Nevada and then drive to California to deliver it. I don't care if it's like 4 hours or 5 hours, because it's ridiculous to park in California. I don't deal with the whole parking over there.
I know they had this thing where they required like certified clean idles and everything else over there. Over in Ontario, the 2 TAs, the TA and I think one of them's a Petra now, but the cops would go through there and patrol all the time and write tickets for idling, because you're not allowed to idle in California. Yeah. I'm like, it is 104 degrees outside.
Yeah.
Now, the only exception you had for idling is if you had a pet. If you had a pet, you're almost required to idle, because you need to make sure the well-being of that dog, cat, or animal you have in the truck.
So your well-being is not important.
Oh, hell no. No.
Yeah.
California is apparently a
pet-friendly
pet state. You know, they don't care about the truck drivers.
Yeah,
they don't care if you're sweating.
I stay in Vegas when I had to cross over to California.
I've never stopped in Vegas. I've stopped in Henderson.
Oh, I stopped
and I've
there.
driven around the Strip, going up 15, which is a really neat drive.
Yeah, I stopped there probably about 3 times.
Right.
When I've been going to California.
It's a TA, isn't it? In Vegas? Is that what it is? Is it a TA?
I think it's a Petro.
Is it? It's kind of like on the northwest side of the Vegas. I don't remember if I've ever stopped there. If I did, it would have just been for like fuel or something. Right, but I didn't stop to hang out.
I think it's a Petro, if I'm not mistaken.
So, yeah, 15, that's a really neat drive.
Mm-hmm.
You cut through a little bit of Arizona before you get into Utah. And the first time I went up 15 from there, I think we delivered in Henderson. And we went up 15 and got into Utah. Just every single one of those little rest areas is like alongside the canyons.
Mm-hmm.
You're near, I think, Arches State Park in that area.
Okay.
Really neat. And so every one of those rest areas, I got pictures from all of them somewhere on a storage device, hard drive, server somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, really neat going through there. So.
Yeah, in California, well, for the times I've been there, parking into a door in some facilities is crazy. You got no space for mistakes at all. It's so tight. And then some of them you end up having to deliver in the middle of the street. I'm like,
there's a place called LA Rug that's kind of like that. It's terrible.
I'm like,
to get
how?
There. Well, there's a facility we still go to now. Actually, I don't think
in California.
No.
Oh.
Kellogg up in Kansas City, or on Sunshine. Yeah. I don't think that we put our trailers in the doors anymore on either side, but like when you back in your trailer, you're rubbing your doors with a trailer next to you. There's no way around it. It's super tight. And one of our other drivers, Stephen Kelsey, he was up there one time, and he was getting ready to leave. He got his paperwork, he got his truck started, and he was getting ready to pull out, and this guy just was in a hurry to get back to the door, tore his mirror off the truck.
No.
He could. It's like if you just waited 2 effing minutes, I'd have been out of your way.
Yeah.
It wasn't not bad weather or anything else. You just, yeah. Most of the places I've been in California didn't have real tight quarters like that.
No, and well, this was a Fiji water company to pick up water. So it's like you go in, so you got the building on this side, and then you got this big wall cement pavement on the other side. And it's, I want to say, from where you park your truck in the door, you practically have about maybe 100 feet from the actual truck to the wall. Now you don't really have that much space to maneuver to get
100
in.
feet's quite a bit, though. Well, it's close.
It's close. I mean, when you have to do your degrees and everything, you're almost practically close to rubbing your front bumper to that wall. And it's like, I'm like, how do you guys do this? I'm like, you did it quite well, because there's people, and it's legit, because when I was leaving that area, there was, I want to say it was a Prime that was backing in, couldn't do it. She tried to, she got in halfway, and then her driver's side, I don't know what she hit, but from her driver's side hit the guy next door, the guy next to her,
Right.
that whole side mirror of his truck. I'm like, and then she's trying to figure out what to do, go forward. I mean, no matter what you're gonna do, it's already broken.
Right.
So might as well just keep finishing what you're gonna do.
What doesn't mean you have to make it worse? Just hurry up. You already fucked it up. What difference does it make?
Exactly, and then you're blocking the whole entrance, because it's very small. It's like one entrance you can only go in, and that same entrance you can only go out. This is how tight it was over there in California to pick up Fiji bottles of water.
Oh, no.
And it's like, this is crazy. And then there was another location where you just park right in the middle of the street. I'm like, what about the car? Well, they just have to wait. I'm like, really?
Man, a couple of the coolest places that I picked up in California, we used to go to Oceanside. That was neat. You were there all day long, though, because it's a drop trailer, and they're hand loading it all day long. They're just shipments. It's like picking up at Amazon.
Mm.
No, it's not. No, it's a lie. Amazon's worse. But a couple of the coolest places I've been to is I picked up at Mattel and Hasbro. They're really, really cool. Especially Hasbro, because they're the ones that bought out Kenner toys.
Okay.
And so when you walk into the main entryway where you check in, they have like the whole like a mural painted on the wall of their history of toys, whether it's He-Man, Transformers, or this or that, and everything else. And they have like a window, kind of like a little mini museum of some of their classic toys and everything else. Really cool. I'm like, I had that. Nice. I had that. I always wanted that. It was awesome. And Mattel, it's like they're asking for their stuff to get stolen, because I remember there's no lighting on the back side of the warehouse. It's all gated and all fenced and everything else. And like people are gonna like sneak in from the back, but they check you in up front. I drove me around to the back side, barely any lighting. It was dark. Backed in, and they already have my paperwork. I already have my seal. I put the seal on, and then the guard just makes sure the seal matches the paperwork, and you go on about your way. But I was the only person there on the backside. It seems like I had back when you've heard of Littlest Pet Shop.
Yeah.
I was picking up a whole shipment of that. Some of that stuff's high dollar stuff on eBay now, but and so I pulled out the door, and there's no one there. There's no cameras, just nothing. I'm like, I could just take one of these cases, throw them in the truck, and because I had that stray thought, that one of those intrusive thoughts, I know a lot of people have done something. Yeah, especially since I already had my seal. I pull out, close the doors, seal it up. There's no way they're going to know something's missing. Because when you get to wherever you're going, they're like, oh, the trailer was sealed. It's good to go.
Well, like that one thing from TikTok. So, nobody will know.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how many people may have done that. Especially since I think at the time my daughter was currently collecting those. So I was like, oh, shit, I'd be like the coolest dad ever. Right. A bunch of brand new Littlest Pet Shops. Yeah. Why do I need 10 of the same one?
Resell the all 9, keep one.
Right. Because some of them they're worth a pretty penny now, but
yeah, I wouldn't know.
So on your short time driving, what's one of your favorite experiences that you've had out on the road? Or what's your favorite place to go? I mean, if we went to all 48 states, since we don't really do that here, let's pretend that we've gone to all 48 states. Is there a place that you've been that you always enjoyed going? Like, I'm from Washington State, so, but that's like more than a 7-day trip to Washington and back. And so the rest of the family's here, but I've always enjoyed going out west, up north, across the mountains and everything else. I love the scenery.
Well,
we don't really do that.
Before I talk about what the location I like to go, that Washington State, when it comes to winter, is crazy. It really is. Because I was going up the mountains, on the east side of the mountains.
Okay.
And it starts snowing like crazy. But then when you go across over the mountain to the other side, it's like nothing. I'm like,
Are you talking about like I-90?
I don't have no idea. It's been a long time. It's
Yeah, 'cause that'd be like,
one when I was
that'd
with
be Eatonville
Swift.
or Enumclaw. Yeah, one of them. Ellensburg.
No, it wasn't 90.
Ellensburg. You go across the pass, and there's that lake over there. There's a tunnel, kind of on the side of the mountain. Only one lane, only one direction was kind of under the mountain. The other lane's on the outside of it. I think eastbound's on the outside and westbound's underneath. Yeah, yeah.
It was.
The further west you go, the wetter the snow gets.
It was crazy. It really was. It was my first experience, my first year driving, and it was with Swift.
Damn, trial by fire.
Yeah, and luckily at that time I didn't really have to put the chains on because it just started to snow.
Right.
So when I got over, it was just the ground was just wet. It wasn't heavy snow, but it's like it was cut in half. Like it was snowing and then it wasn't. I'm like, nah, this can't be. He's like, wasn't it just snowing? He's like, yeah. I'm like, did it just stop? He's like, no, it's still snowing. Look. I'm like, this is crazy. So it was extreme. But I want to say there's a lot of part of the states that I love, from East Coast to the West Coast. When it comes to the West Coast, California I like, but it's like I like it, but I don't. And I want to get out of there as soon as possible.
Right. All right, I'm here. This is awesome. All right, let's get the hell out.
Yeah, because my thing is the earthquake. I mean, I know you'll get a warning or something, but it's like if there's an earthquake, you can't do anything about it because you'll just fall and that's it.
Have you ever been in an earthquake?
No.
It is a trip. It was in 1999. I was in Washington. This is before I was driving. I was downtown Olympia. We're just hanging out with some friends, and that's when this small little like 6-point whatever earthquake hit. Like in Tacoma or something, and it is a trip. Just the way, because you feel something moving, but you don't.
Sorry about that.
You don't see it. It's so weird, because it's not just like the truck's moving or your car's moving. Everything's moving in unison. You see some shaking of the windows and everything else from, or maybe a piece of a building, shake loose or whatever. But because everything's moving and shaking at the same time, you don't really see it, but you feel it. I'm not saying I recommend it for everybody, but it is a trip, the whole earthquake thing. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite route, I like 15 in Utah because of all the canyons and everything else. It's awesome. Or going across 40 all the way into California. We'll say Barstow, and that's good enough. Call it Barstow and turn around and come back. If I'm going to go further, I don't want to go south because traffic's just a nightmare. I'd rather just keep going west, like towards Bakersfield or something like that. Head to 99 or I-5 and go up north with Shasta. But since I was born in Alaska and I grew up in Washington, there's always been mountains. Arkansas, there's no mountains. I don't care what you call these Ozark Mountains or whatever. They're not mountains. So when I had the opportunity,
no comparisons.
Yeah. So first time I went all the way across 90 through like South Dakota and Montana, all that was here at Bowerman, and just the Rockies. Awesome scenery. We don't want to live there because I've driven through there in the winter. You can have that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I like to go. It's up north in the mountains and everything else. Awesome.
Yeah, California's nice. I like actually driving from the top of the state of California down to Los Angeles through the
right.
I don't remember the highway.
Which one?
I don't know.
101?
No, I don't.
Ventura Highway? That's 101.
It might be. Is it from all the way from the top of?
Yes.
That has that whole curves going.
Yeah,
And you can only go. I think it was like 50 or 50
the
miles
coastal
out.
highway is 101. It goes from Southern California, all the way up through Oregon and up through Washington. 101.
But it's not. Is the trucks going on the coast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's a 4-lane
exactly.
highway. Some spots, like in Oregon and Northern California, like through Redwood and everything else, it might be like down to 2-lane or whatever else, because it's all tourist, scenic, and everything else. But yeah, that's an awesome highway. I haven't driven a lot of that in a truck. I've been up Ventura a little bit. I can't remember where I picked up at Santa Barbara, maybe. I think I was over there. But my brother took from Washington all the way down to California on 101. So that was we've done that in a car, but not in a truck. A lot of neat scenery. That's my big thing. I like to see scenery and everything else. And so all the cities, you can have it. Atlanta, LA, both garbage.
All right. Arizona, I like also. Arizona is nice scenery, especially when the sun is coming and everything. You get to see all the rocks and the mountains.
Oh man, a couple of those rest areas. They're just like those boulders and everything else in the rest area. Was that? Is that on 40 or is that on 8? I think there's one on 40 or 10. Sorry, one on 10.
I want to say 10.
And yeah,
From my view,
Arizona,
it was 10.
Arizona's got a lot of neat stuff too.
Yeah.
A lot. I remember the first time I went through Arizona, it was like you get to see your favorite cartoons come to life. The cactus, the cacti. You know, you see from like the Looney Tunes and Wile E. Coyote and everything else. Those.
I look at it like I said, California. I like what I'm liking to see in different states is how houses are built.
Oh yeah.
The different styles that they have. So it's like that's nice. It's a nice style, and then
see that's where the East Coast can become a little bit more attractive. I mean, if you get off the main highway, get away from all the traffic. There's been a lot of times I've driven through little. It's almost like history got stopped at some point. The classic buildings. The roads are really narrow, but
I don't want to talk about
seeing it's like. Like, if you've ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, they have, when you walk into the Magic Kingdom, it's they call it Main Street USA.
Yeah.
Old school, classic, like frozen in like
everything's together.
Everything's frozen from the 40s to like the 70s or whatever, all the classic architecture. And going through some of these old school towns, it's like, it only lasts about a mile or two. And speed limit is always like 20 or 25 miles an hour because people park on the street right there. But it's really, if the town is striving, it's so much better. If all the shops are opened up and everything else, it's awesome. There's a lot of those places further west you go, but you got boarded up windows and everything else. It's like a town that people forgot about. You know, but
going through like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and areas like that. You know how the movie The Rocky, where he lives, their houses like right next to each other. You could open up the window and say hi to the next door neighbor. And I was like, man, this really does exist. It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's a trip.
And some houses, it's just.
I like driving through this town.
I don't know if I could do that.
I've picked up or delivered in a couple of those smaller towns that have warehouses on the edge of town. They are not built for trucks. All the area is super tight, and so you have to know how to drive in order to get through this place. But
I know exactly what you're talking about. I had to go through small towns. You had to be on the left side of the road so you could take a nice, good right turn and take the left side of that side to turn.
And you still like rub the curb a little bit.
Well, before
the worst part is when they have that pole right there on the corner.
Exactly.
I'm like, really? Can't move that back like 3 feet? Just 3 feet. 3 feet. That's all I need.
The first time I went through a town like that, I was so scared. Like hitting that pole that you're talking about.
Right.
And ever since then, before I entered those towns, and since now I don't have any weight skills or anything, I moved the tandems all the way up. Oh yeah. Because of that. Because if going through those towns,
that can bite
heavy
you in the butt
weight
too. There's been a couple of those areas where it's not so much how close that pole is, but how close you have to get to this other side of the road in order to make that turn. Because then you have to deal with your trailer swing. It's a lot less common, but there's been like one or two places I'm like, oh, I forgot about it. Not forget,
but
you
your
think about
tangents
it.
still back. It takes that
Right.
long turn that you have to do, but if you shorten it out,
Right.
then even though you got that tail that you got to worry about not hitting anything else, but I mean, what are the chances?
Right.
You know?
Man.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice sceneries down East Coast. But
Yeah, there's places like that everywhere, though. There's some states that like, no. Like Georgia.
well, even in
boring.
Texas, it's like a Western. There's
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
like it's a Western vibe, and I'm like, man, this was like in the 18, 17,
Oh, yeah.
1600s.
Oh, yeah, if you're taking 10 all the way across, once you get past San Antonio, you get way out into like Nothingville, USA.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Anything in between like the first, yeah, like the split for 20 and 10 there all the way to like El Paso. It's just, if you're on the interstate, there's still places that are like, wow, this is like, it's so old school.
I mean, even when my dad talked to me about Route 66,
Oh, yeah.
and then there's some location in Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma? Somewhere in Kansas also, where I end up hitting Route 66 because I
Right.
also used to do trucking for hoppers. So
Okay.
like, you know, wheat, grain, stuff like that. So I used to go through the country roads, and I hit 66. I'm like, take a picture of
Right.
you know, Route 66,
Oh, yeah.
show it to my dad and everything.
There's a lot of places throughout the country you hit 66, but it's not like old school 66.
No.
But my uncle, he showed me a route in California. If you're going across 10 in California, as soon as you get out of Arizona a little ways, there's a sign that said, you know, sign for Vegas. I think it's Highway 91, I think. And then you follow that, and there's a set of railroad tracks. And that's the turn. That's 66 right there. And it goes into Goff, Goff. Nothing there. It looked like there was an old hotel or something there at one point, like way back in the day. And you do an S curve over the tracks, and it follows the tracks. Which, if you're hauling any kind of heavy freight into California or out of California, I always take 66 through Goff because it follows the tracks. The railroad's not going to climb mountains. You're going to find the easiest path.
Right.
And so I've always loved doing that, especially because I run no faster than like 58. I ain't trying to rub anyone the wrong way in California, since the truck speed limit is still to this day 55.
Yeah, 55, yeah.
And so some people are like, oh, I don't care, I'm going to run 65. I've had trucks, flatbeds, particularly pass me, and they're just like, look at you and give you their look like, why are you driving so slow? And they're just hauling ass.
Yeah.
And I watch them. I hope that they don't take that exit. So they'll pass that exit. I'm like, awesome. So, because right after the exit, it's a huge climb.
Okay.
Every time I've taken it, I've gotten down to as low as 15 miles an hour. It's pretty
bad.
good. And it's long, too, miles long. And so the beauty part about it, I'll take the exit, get up there to the railroad tracks, get on 66, go through Goff, come back. If you've ever been on 10, you may, is it 10 or is it 40? I'm trying. It might be. Okay, maybe it's on 40. It's on 40. There's that Oasis truck stop out in the middle of nowhere.
What state is this?
It's in California.
California?
It's on 40. It's way on the boonies. It's called the Oasis Travel Center. They're the fuel is outrageous. Everything in the store is really expensive because
When was this? Do you remember?
it's still there. It's still there. It's but they have generators for
Okay.
electricity. And
I've
so
been there.
yeah, they're like, they have signs say, don't complain about our prices, blah 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 blah. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. And it used to be a big deal back in the day. They had like a fountain up front and everything else. But anyways,
I think I have been that one.
what's fun, so you pass that, and that's right there off the exit. Get back onto 40 right there. Knowing that the dude that was just giving you weird, all the truck drivers that would make eye contact with you as they pass you, like, I'm a badass. What's fun, I always try to remember at least 2 or 3 of these trucks that pass me within 5 minutes of me taking that first exit. Because then I'll get back on the highway. I always make sure they remember me. Like, I'll give them a weird look or whatever else. I want to be remembered. There's a reason for that. So I'll get back on the highway knowing damn well they've had to climb that big-ass hill on that mountain, that pass, probably drop down to 15, 20 miles an hour. By the time I get back to the highway, I'm back in front of them.
Oh, wow.
And so what's fun, I've only had like 2 confirms personally that I'm like, I know he passed me. But it's fun to see the look on their face when they remember you. Like, I passed you like 30 minutes ago. Yeah. So how the hell did you get in front of me? There ain't no freaking way. So that's fun. That's fun. But yeah, that part of 66 going through Goff, that's my uncle showed me that. And so every time I go to California, I take it because I don't have to climb the mountain. Mm-hmm. The only time I haven't taken it is when I've got like 10,000 pounds in the box and it doesn't really matter. And so I might drop down to like 45 or whatever else, but because I'm light. So yeah, that was always fun. So, and the whole way down 66, they have the shield that says 66. So you're on. Okay. That's like one section of the original Route 66. Yeah. So maybe one day I'll take a road trip and I'll just pull up some old maps and just definitely go to Chicago and take the whole 66 to California.
That was actually one of my ideas to do one time, just one time, just for the remembrance of my dad. But yeah, that's what I want to do one time. Yeah. My other location is Colorado. I think it's called Cold Springs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I like it over there. It's nice. You know, you're in a certain spot, but then you see all the mountains around you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then there's actually, a spring just going across, and it's beautiful. It's nice.
Oh, yeah.
Quiet, relaxing. Yeah. It's a different vibe from the city.
Yeah, there's a lot of those places that we've delivered to over the years that just be able to get out. I mean, you're not at a warehouse per se. I've picked up and delivered at fields and farms and everything else, whatever it may be, seed or picking up hay or whatever. And you get to stay the night, and it's just quiet. Another favorite spot, there's a rest area just on the leaving Yuma, Arizona. You climb over the pass on I-8, and on the other side there's a truck parking area. Okay. It's not a rest area because there's no facilities. It's just truck parking. And because of that, there's not a lot of cars there. There's not a lot of traffic that goes through there. And it's pitch black. I mean, you can see the stars, everything. You can see the Milky Way. It's awesome. So, but
the other
doesn't usually the time doesn't usually line up perfectly for you to be there at that time.
Yeah. But there's another one. I ended up staying the whole night because my schedule was for the following day. So I was picking up in Wisconsin, and I took going to California. So instead of going, down to 39 and then cross over, I just took 90, and I took all from, North Dakota, and just keep going through Montana. Yeah, Montana and everything. Man,
94.
Yeah, and then I end up stopping at this.
I think Jones and Billings, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Not stopping, but driving through Yellowstone and all that stuff.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This is nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's a big, huge site on the side of the road, big, huge parking space. Big, huge, where there's like a small park and everything where people start hiking and everything.
Oh, okay, wow.
But then there's a big, huge creek or a big river. I'm like, I'm stopping here.
Right on.
Had the windows open. You could hear the river just flowing through. I just took my shoes off, rolled my pants up to my knees, and just went into the water. Cold.
I bet.
Cold, but it was
all that
nice.
Melted snow.
Yeah. Took a bottle of water, put the bottle in the water, tried to taste it at first just to make sure. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't.
It's just still probably clean because you've heard of what is it?
But I took that risk.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I took that risk and
that
tried
cold,
it.
fresh, refresh. Oh yeah.
It was nice. It was really nice. I have pictures of it. I sent it to almost everybody I knew or I know, and I said look where I'm at. Look how beautiful this is, and it's nice. It was
kind of
really
makes you
nice.
why? See, when you get to those places, that's when you're like, this is why I do what I do. Yeah. I get to see places like this. Got to see so many places that I otherwise wouldn't be able to see. Yeah. And also it changed some of the routes that we've taken on road trips, like going up to Washington. It's okay, I've driven this highway several times. We're going to take this route because I want to stop here, because I couldn't do it in the truck. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was born here,
in Arkansas,
in Chicago. and never went to these locations. Never been to Yellowstone before.
Right.
You know, and driving the trucks and going to these different states and everything is like nice. Different views, different vibes, different experience in driving, and I don't consider it being a waste. You know? It's something different. It's nice. I mean, it gets exhausting sometimes, you know, because you're on the road and not home. And, but when it comes to looking at not only
being able to see what this country has to offer,
driving through it, but being able to stop for maybe an hour or two, whatever.
Just take it in.
Yeah, you take it in, you see it. It's nice.
Right.
There's times that like in Colorado where I was, I think I stopped there for the whole night. I ended up locking the truck, walking around the town, bought some souvenirs for my kids, and you know, hey, this is where I was, you know.
Right. I was here.
New York was the same thing. Never been to New York. Don't like it. I don't like it at all.
The state, or you talking about the city or the state?
Both.
We used to go to Buffalo a lot, and I didn't mind that. There was one time we picked up just down the road from Niagara Falls. It wasn't close enough to really see it, but you can see all the mist and everything else, so you knew that's where it was.
Yeah. So I bought, you know, souvenirs like the Lady Liberty and all that, you know.
Right.
So I bought that, you know, locations that I've never been to and that I do enjoy, you know, some kind of history or whatever.
Right.
I get souvenirs and
awesome.
I take it to my kids, so they'd be like, "Oh, look, my dad was here." Or,
I think the fact that we got to see so many different places out here on the road, offers some inspiration as far as, like, instead of going to your usual vacation stop, say, hey, I driven through this one area that was really neat in the truck. I'd love to go see it. And, you know, in our personal vehicle, let's go here or whatever. That's what caused us to go through Roswell and White Sands and go through Yuma and go up through Montana and everything else. So I had the opportunity to stop at some of these places. But yeah. And so I don't know.
Florida is one. Florida, I've always loved to go to Florida.
You can have Florida. There ain't nothing in Florida.
I love it. I really do. I really do. And all the times, every single time I end up going to Florida, and that's not only everywhere, it's just Florida. I always have my windows down. Fresh, I don't know what it is. I like the breeze or something that has to do with Florida that I have my windows down. You must have
gone to all the nicer places in Florida, because all the places we've gone are always, no.
Really?
Yeah, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, the port, down to Miami, or actually it's Doral, Florida.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, as far as parking,
Parking?
There ain't no place to park.
Haven't had any issues there.
Like I said, you must have went to all the nice places in Florida. We got shafted.
It might have been. I know I've been to Tampa, Orlando.
I've been there personally, you know.
No, trucking though. Right. Trucking, yeah. I think Fort Lauderdale. And then just coming right back up. And at night when, you know, Florida is a thing that during the day and everything is crazy packed in the highways. But then late at night, it is like nobody lived here. You could just cruise on down. And it's like, I like it. Just have the windows down, just take the weather condition and everything, just drive. But any other states, I always have my windows open. I don't know why, what's with Florida that I have my windows down.
All right. Well, it's actually went on a little bit longer than I thought it was. We're at about an hour and 10 minutes, so I want to be able to retain viewers. So, thanks for coming on. We didn't have our host show up and everything else, but I guess he's dealing with safety stuff. So hopefully we'll get everything back to normal. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the whole layout thing. Because I wanted to do something different that wasn't, because after all, it is basically a podcast. So you're not really here to watch the visuals. If you're watching it on YouTube Music, which allows you to just listen to it without any visuals, or if you're listening to it on Spotify, you don't care what the layout looks like. But if you're watching on YouTube, let me know what you think of the layout, and if you have any suggestions, heck, if you have a layout you want to create for us, hit me up. The email should be on the page. You can be able to email us. But thanks for watching or listening this week. I hope everyone's being safe out there on the road with all this snowpocalypse of this week. Hopefully everyone got home safe to their families and whatnot and didn't have anything too crazy happen. So if you haven't already done so, be sure and click that subscribe button. Click the little bell icon to be part of our little notification squads. That way you get notified whenever we upload new content. And like video, share the video with someone that you think that might relate to it. If you have any other stories or comments or suggestions, you know where to put those. So until next week, y'all be safe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.